Now, the rumour mill is running at full steam, suggesting that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has adopted the African Democratic Congress, or ADC, as the platform on which he and his coalition partners intend to challenge President Tinubu and the APC in 2027. Well, that suggestion has been dismissed as a proposal that has not yet been ratified. It's been suggested that the Social Democratic Party, or SDP, has also been proposed as forming a completely new party. One thing appears to be for sure, though, and that is meetings have taken place attended by Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi and Nasir El-Rufai, in which proposals have been made about various political party platforms on which their proposed coalition might contest the presidential election in 2027. Collectively, unquestionably, the political power of the two leading contenders, Atiku and Obi, packs enormous clout. Together, the votes they garnered in the 2023 election was more than enough to roundly defeat President Tinubu and could give Mr. Tinubu and the APC a punishing run for their money in 2027, but only if they come together. In the end, of course, the coalition may not come to pass, but it is looking more and more likely that if the political conditions are right, it may become reality within the next few weeks. So, could a new political chapter be on the verge of opening here in Nigeria? Well, one of the parties that's been mentioned as a possible platform on which the coalition might challenge President Tinubu in 2027 is the African Democratic Congress, or ADC. Its founder and pioneer chairman is Dr. Ralph Nwosu, and he joins me now in the studio. How are you?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Has your party, the ADC, been adopted as the opposition coalition party, or is it under consideration? Can you give us some clarity on that?
Okay. Thank you very much again. And I want to say this. From the time ADC was established, the intention was to bring Nigerians together. So from 2007, when we first ran Professor Dichotomy as our presidential candidate, we were all around wanting to bring Nigerians together. And this time, 20 years, almost 20 years after, Nigerians have seen why ADC came to be a party. And if you can imagine any party that was thoughtfully put together, it's ADC. Number one, and why I'm giving this preamble is for anybody to see why ADC will be considered in any group of well-meaning Nigerians, patriots, why they may consider that. I don't know what is being considered now because I have a different assignment. We have different committees. But ADC, African Democratic Congress, you cannot discuss leadership, political or otherwise, in Nigeria, with Nigeria in isolation. It must be African focused. You know why? Nigeria has almost 20% of the population of Africa. 1 in every 5 black persons in the world, Nigerians. So anybody who wants to be president or who wants to operate in the political sphere cannot really manage Nigeria as just a country in Africa. Nigeria means a lot more as far as the continent is concerned. So when we thought of this party, we said policies must be African focused, continental, and then global. Therefore, that's number one, African. And you can see even now, across Africa, or even across the world, you can see, while we detest military regime, you can see what is happening with Burkina Faso, Africa. And that's the new reality. And I'm happy that people are beginning to think that way. Now, the African Democratic Congress, broad-minded and not parochial. What you've seen in this country, from APC, from all the country, they're not even completely Nigeria-minded. They are ethnic, tribal, and so on. That's not right for us to get our politics right. ADC is about transformation. Now, the second important thing about ADC, and that's why any well-meaning person must know that this party was constructed to put Nigeria on the driving seat for development and transformation. Number two is the handshake, our symbol, handshake. We are so disunited and so on. Inclusion is critical. So the handshake, when we started building this, you go to any part of the country, they talk about handshake. Handshake is about love, coming together, and so. From the day we dreamt about ADC and set it up, we imagined a day, especially October 1st, when at a particular time, all Nigerians can get up and shake the hands of their neighbor as a symbol for national unity. That dream will be actualized this year. So a lot of...
Tell us why you think that dream will be actualized. Is that because your party is likely to be chosen as the platform for the coalition to challenge President Tinubu?
I mean, Nigerians are beginning to come to the realization that inclusion is critical. Because each time, for instance...
well, I mean, you're talking in very general terms. If you say Nigerians are beginning to realize, and you say that that realization will be cemented this year,
yes.
I mean, the party in power is the APC.
Yeah.
And so if there's any cementing to be done, it's likely to be done by them.
No, because ADC has started a process for the last 16 months. And you know what we've been doing? All the political talk about the political leaders, ATC, we didn't start from there. We thought we needed to touch the grassroots. Because the situation in the country will either one day call for citizens' revolt or patriots coalition.
Right. I want to establish, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I need to establish something.
Yes.
Before we then come to what you're saying, okay. And I promise we'll return to that.
Thank you.
To what extent has the ADC been consulted by this new proposed coalition?
Yes. The conversations, let me put it now, in three folds.
Right.
As national chairman and the chairman of the special consultative organ dealing with citizens and some patriots, my job is different.
Right, but you must be aware you're the national chairman of the party.
We'll put it together.
Yeah.
Then Dr. Bamidele Ganiyu Ajadi, the deputy national chairman of, one of the deputy national chairman, is coordinating some arm of the political parties. And Dr. Mani Ibrahim Ahmad is also dealing with stakeholders in political parties. These are different committees. So what I can tell you as a chairman is more of what we've done with the citizens and the civil organizations. I had to rush here from the meeting that we were collating what is happening among the stakeholders as far as politics is concerned, and then also...
Basically, you don't want to talk about the fact that...
that's
the way it sounds. You can't be the national chairman, or I'd be worried about your party. I mean, you can't be the national chairman, and you don't know if a discussion is being had about bringing a whole new set of people into your party to run against the president.
I need that to give you, some clarity. So now...
Yeah.
The different committees, they've met all the stakeholders. Occasionally, you mention former Vice President Atiku, you mention former presidential candidate, Labour Party, Peter Obi, and then El Rufai. They've met all of them.
Right.
They've met a lot more. They've met Rotimi Amechi. They've met, name them, almost all the people who ran for president. Right. In 2023, in any way, either they were aspirants and never transited to become candidates, or whether they are candidates. They've met all of them. They've met all of them, and they've also met the Dr. Mani Ahmad has met with all the political parties. So, a lot of persons, the stakeholders, have bought into our ideas. Right. And a few of the political parties also have bought in. So, why it's kind of difficult to say, it's 100%. It's not about them agreeing. I think amongst them, they've signed a document to work together. But now, for us, the balance is, do we want to work with these people? And then the citizens, because we are consulting with the citizens. What do the citizens, what do they think? And the other civil societies, what do they think? Right. So there is going to be a final meeting between the civil societies and the citizens group, and then the stakeholders in that's the critical stakeholders who have, in one way or the other, contested the presidency. Well,
does the ADC actually have an ideology that these coalition partners are able to connect with, or is the ADC just a vehicle for them to challenge the APC in 2027?
Sometime last year, the ADC had a summit.
Right. And
the summit was in Arewa House in Kaduna. And we made it clear that any politician who want to contest the election, who thinks that the political party is a molue for going to where they want to go, or a purpose vehicle, that they must think again. Because that has made parties to become the weakest link in the chain of our democratic system. And that is wrong. Because the weakest link cannot produce leaders that will create the kind of transformation we want. So these are buy-in that people, ADC certainly. In our handshake, it has serious philosophical input. Inclusion, respect, and welfare for the people. Number two, Africanism. The African people must assert themselves. That's why transformational leadership is critical as far as ADC is concerned.
Yeah, but that's always been the focus of Nigeria's foreign policy. It's always been Nigeria, then Africa, then the rest of the world.
Yes.
So you're not really doing anything new.
No, you see, occasionally, let me tell you one thing. You know, in Nigeria, at times you say, we don't want that dichotomy of ethnicity, and so it's causing problem for us. But in most of the parties, you go there, you see national deputy chairman north, deputy chairman south. In most of the things we do, when you want to erase certain things, you stop highlighting them.
Right.
In ADC, for instance, and you know, we have our clear DNA. In ADC, for instance, you know what we have? We say, we don't want to do with this person north, this person south. It creates the dichotomy that we don't want. What we want is deputy national chairmen that are function-based, clearly. So when you go through our DNA and the things we do, and you know what? We've been having this conversation with some of these leaders, and we've given them our pamphlet, because we must start a new course.
Right. So let me ask you this, based on what you're saying now. Most Nigerians have come to accept the zoning structure in this country, that, for example, the North does 8 years, the South does 8 years.
Okay.
It is the South's turn at the moment. Do you buy into that zoning arrangement, the broadly speaking, that in 2027, if you were to be the vehicle via which the coalition will challenge the 2027, challenge Tinubu in 2027, that you would go for that zoning arrangement where you pick a southern candidate to run against Tinubu?
Okay.
Or you just wouldn't, it wouldn't matter?
No, we are, while we are not parochial, we are very, very mindful.
Right.
Because leadership must be very mindful. Being the national chairman of a big coalition that is being formed of ADC that almost every critical stakeholder has been talking to, I've also had a lot of youth groups come to me from the north, from the south, from almost everywhere. You know, some people come, it's South Turn. Okay, they give me the point. But one day I was we were taken aback, not just me, the committee, when some young people, 18, 22, they came and they said, come, we talk equity in Nigeria, for instance. Talk equity in Nigeria. But you know what? Since this democracy began, the North has done 10 years, and the South has done 18 years. I say, come again? They said so. And they say, if the South took another, we had to take another 4 years after Tinubu's term, it will now become 22 years to 10 years of the North. And, So, it's not that straightforward. But our stakeholders are meeting, and the proper decisions will be taken, and so on.
Right, okay. Well, in that context, because some people have a completely contrary argument, the reason why it became that way is because a president from the north died. Nobody had any control over that. And in that regard, constitutionally, the next person who was due to run was the vice president. That's just the way it works. And nobody can do anything about that. That's not the point that we're talking about. The point we're talking about is the fact that, because if that was the case, then there wouldn't have been any Tinubu in 2023, or the governors wouldn't have come together to say, let's give it to the South in 2023, after 8 years of Tinubu, of Buhari. What I wanted to ask you...
Why I emphasize this is that people come with their different arguments.
Yes, and you have a point. I agree. I agree that you have a point.
That's not the view of our party,
right?
And that's not also what the coalition is relying on. But at times, I just wanted to clear this because
I understand that
I represent, people from
a broad church of people.
Exactly.
Yeah. But in the context of what you were saying earlier about your party's philosophy, I don't want to call it your ideology, but certainly your philosophy. Do you have any sense of who you would like to be in the driver's seat in this coalition if it finally takes place? Any sense of who you might want? Because clearly you know who the leading candidates are. You know what their philosophy is. They've run for elections. They ran in 2023. So it's not about you saying, well, let's go and find out what this person's philosophy is. Everybody in Nigeria knows what their philosophy is. Everybody knows what their parapraxes are, their footprints. They've seen it. Do you have any sense of who you would like to emerge as your sort of... leading person?
These questions have come up. Even some of the persons who may be running for president have come to me at different times to say, how do they work with me? This way or that way. I say, listen, if I'm to remain national chairman, as at the time of the primaries, I only have one vote. And that's the only vote I will exercise. That it's better you go, by the time the coalition forms, you do your lobbying across. Because if it's about me, I will only have one vote. But then, if I stop being chairman, I can work for any one of them. So for now, I'm still chairman. And showing any biases wouldn't be good for...
Okay. Well, let me... You mentioned the fact that, and that's a good answer. You mentioned the fact that you are obviously the chairman.
Yes.
you've been the chairman of the ADC since it was founded. I believe it was 2005, is that right?
It was registered in 2006.
Right. That's a long time to be chairman, isn't it?
Sure. But party building to the sophistication where we are now is not a tea party, I can assure you.
Yeah, but it sounds almost undemocratic, doesn't it?
Excuse me.
I mean,
excuse me. You know, you can do that with parties that have already formed. If I had left the driver's seat, maybe this party could have been deregistered, and it wouldn't play the critical role we envisioned it to play. And a situation where you are national chairman and you burn over 200 to 500 million every year running a public trust. The political party is a public trust. But how many Nigerians, even the multi-billionaires, can run public trust selflessly and put in this kind of resources there and so on? I've done that. I did that also when we formed APGA. I paid all the registration for APGA, and I took that party to Anambra State, and I set it up in every local government, every ward. I set it up, and so on. And I used it to deliver the governor at the same time, although I was cheated. But it doesn't matter anymore. I'm open-minded. I am a builder. You don't build and allow it to fall like a pack of cards. Since 2005, over 103 political parties have been deregistered. It will kill me if I put in that type of resources.
Right.
And because I think about what people will say, even people who don't mean well, what they will say, and I say, oh, because I'm there for 4 years, I'm ready to leave as national chairman.
Right, because what I was going to ask
I'm ready to leave as national chairman the moment this coalition is
okay, well, because what I was going to ask you, we're running out of time, so I want to sort of get to a couple of things before we have to go, is whether, given your fidelity to your party, your fastidiousness to that party, and the fact that it's your baby, might that be a problem for you, that other people might come into the party and attempt to dislodge you, or might not like the fact that you've been there for such a long time?
No, not at all. Listen, when, you know, each time there's a survey across the country,
right.
This is not the first time this is coming alive. In 2018, when former President Obasanjo did a survey of all the political parties, he chose ADC because the character is there. And when he did, when we had our conversation, he said, we are deciding to choose your party, in as much as you didn't show up, but you will not be national chairman. And I said, Mr. President, what am I doing with national chairman? If people like you are taking over the party, I take it that the party is not going to be destroyed. It's now going to serve the purpose for which we've invested the money and the time to build it. And for me, this is another critical opportunity. And 20 years, when we started the party, we thought it was going to be 4 years, just as I did with APGA. But it's taken almost, by 2027, it will be 20 years that we started contesting election. If we started a journey, I thought it would be 4 years. And by 20 years, we are getting there. God is great. The time to rescue Nigeria has come. We want to put Nigeria on a clear, a trajectory for transformation and to show leadership in Africa. And for people to have belief in democracy again. Because democracy, look at where we are. Democracy is dying in Africa. But with ADC, we'll make it right. And the coalition, within a question of 1 week or two, will crystallize. I get over 1,000 calls on a daily basis.
Right.
And in all our offices across the country, people are trooping in. Right. Nigerians are excited.
Well, let me ask you this. What would your preference be? Because from what we've heard from the last meeting that they had, they've formed committees looking at your party, the ADC, looking at the SDP, or looking at the possibility of forming a brand new party. that would then become that vehicle. Which would be your preference? Would you prefer that people come to the ADC and adopt it as the party of the coalition, or would you be happy to take the ADC into a new party as part of that coalition?
I think the coalition has passed that stage.
Right.
And we cannot continue on party formation when at less than 2 years to the election. The election is February. The primary to nominate candidates is when the primary to nominate a candidate will end by May, less than a year, and so on. The ADC is well marketed.
Right. Because there's another group, I mean, the Northern League of Democrats and the Southern League of Democrats, so on, so who are pushing for a completely new party. I mean, they said that it would be better so that everybody would find their new space within the new party, rather than coming into something and then there'd be sort of altercations and arguments and entrenched positions and so on and so forth.
Even before the stakeholders started the political parties and stakeholders started to approach ADC, they've tried everything. To start a new party, you do more fighting than taking a new party where the national chairman says, come, I'll be a floor member. Because, let me tell you something. Recently, some people came, national chairman, if you stop being chairman, since founder, I said, founder what? Any party is a public trust. Doesn't belong to anybody. Now I say, founder what? Then I say, okay, would you like to be BOT chairman? This, I say, come on. How many governors do I see here? Over 10 of the present governors and 20-something of former serving governors, senators and so on. I say, come, me, I'll be BOT chairman, and then possibly Atiku, Governor Obi, and all of those. I'll be their BOT chairman. Come, don't kid me. I will be floor member the day this whole thing crystallizes.
Well, that's very, very humble of you, having
formed the
party and been with it since inception.
And I will work to drive the process to the villa.
Right. But you know, just before we let you go, and it's been brilliant talking with you, I wonder if you're concerned, because the way that you've articulated the philosophy of your party, the way that you've spoken about the blood, sweat and tears that you've put into it, suggests that you hold it in very high regard. It means a lot to
100%.
you. Are you concerned that these might just be opportunistic politicians who want to muscle their way into your party and, as they say in Nigerian English, hijack the party?
We have seen such tendencies, and we are working hard to tame them, to bring people to the point of realization.
Right.
That is why we have the Integrity and Equilibration Committee. And that Integrity and Equilibration Committee, some of the founding members and some of the critical stakeholders are going to be there. And I'm telling them, I'm going to be chairman of that Integrity and Equilibration. Integrity to make sure that we continue pursuing our philosophy clearly, the character, the vision, and everything. And then equilibration, we want to make sure that equity continue to reign in the party, and so on. And those guiding principles are already established.
Okay. Well,
we will not fail. I can assure you.
We shall keep a close eye and see what happens in the next couple of weeks or so. But I want to thank you very much indeed for taking the time to come in to talk to us. Dr. Ralph Nwosu is founder and pioneer chairman of the African Democratic Congress, or ADC, and that's one of the parties that's been mentioned as a possible platform on which the new coalition might challenge President Tinubu in 2027. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.